What if the fate of the next Lakers dynasty doesn't hinge on the stars we already worship, the legends whose names are carved into banners hanging from the rafters, but instead on the forgotten, the overlooked, and the second chances whispered quietly in summer league gyms? What if, in the chaos of a summer filled with uncertain rosters and tentative lineups, the very soul of this franchise's future is lurking in plain sight, not on the marquee, but in the gritty, chaotic grind of a player clawing his way back? From the abyss? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where raw truth meets purple and gold passion. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a second of this drama. Now, let me take you deep into the swirling storm that surrounds one named Basley, a player whose story isn't just about basketball, but about endurance, identity, and the desperate hope that burns brightest in the games no one pays. Attention to NBA Summer League isn't everyone's cup of tea. It's wild, unpolished, messy at times, full of raw moments and wayward shots, lacking the precision and rhythm of the regular season. For many, it's just a preseason warm-up. For rookies and fringe players, a collection of chaos and mayhem. But for those of us who breath Lakers purple and gold through thick and thin, who feel every roster decision as a pulse in our collective heart, it's a window, sometimes a flickering light into the uncertain future. And right now, that light shines brightest on Basley. If you're unfamiliar, if his name barely registered until the Lakers Summer League came around, let me paint you the picture. Basley is no rookie scrambling for a roster spot. No, he is a 5-year NBA pro, a man who's tasted the bright lights and now fights to keep them from fading. Last season, after bouncing between a handful of teams, OKC, Phoenix, Philadelphia, you told he chose exile overseas, heading to the Chinese Basketball Association, where he posted solid numbers that scream potential. Roughly 13 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3 assists, nearly 2 blocks per game. Watch that last stat. Tells you everything you need to know about this 6'9" forward who can slide into the small ball center role, a defensive freak with wingspans and instincts that can change a game on that end of the court. Impressive? Absolutely. Enough to get him back on an NBA roster? Not yet. So here he is, fighting through the trenches of the Lakers Summer League team, where over just 3 games in the California Classic, he's exploded on the scene, averaging 17.7 points, 8.7 boards, and an astonishing 2.3 blocks. Let me stress that 2.3 blocks per game in Summer League is not just defense, it's domination, it's a statement. And yet, for all that defensive prowess, that creative offensive spark, the hustle, the drive, the way he's come alive on both ends of the floor, the Lakers face a logistical wall. No two-way contract for Basley. NBA rules shut that door tight. 5 years as a pro, 237 games played, way past the eligibility cutoff for those limited contracts that teams use to sneak players on the rosters without eating up full spots. So if Basley's going to make this team, he's got to do it the hard way, earning a spot on that precious 15-man roster. And yes, there are whispers about Shake Milton's non-guaranteed contract. Could the Lakers open a door by waiving him? But it's not just about numbers. It's about fit, about balancing needs and future potential. Are the Lakers willing to gamble that Basley is the man they want hanging onto a roster spot? Or are they holding out for a more proven free agent to fill that gap? The answer feels like a slow burn maybe, just maybe, if Basley carries over this fiery all-in intensity to the Las Vegas leg of Summer League. They'll see fit to give him a training camp invite, an actual shot at the 15-man roster that would mean everything to his redemption story. But it's a brutal game of ifs. If he maintains his California Classic form, if he keeps dazzling with that rare blend of offensive creativity, defensive tenacity, and raw energy, for now, he's been the standout beacon amid a sea of hopefuls, with even Cole Schwider shining offensively, but lacking Basley's defensive imprint and seasoned court experience. Now, Let's rewind to how Basley landed here in the unforgiving world of NBA Summer Leagues. Battling not just for a contract, but for a second chance at the career he admits slipped away because he wasn't ready. Not fully developed. Not quite polished enough for the NBA's harsh spotlight. He was a five-star high school talent. A man who bypassed college basketball at Syracuse and the traditional professional trail. He opted out of the G League Ignite project completely and steered towards solitary training, a gamble that could have scuttled his future. Somehow, though, he fought through. The 2019 NBA draft saw Utah pick him 23rd, then swiftly trade him to OKC, a team that briefly became his proving ground. The Thunder, in the middle of a rebuild and shedding stars like Chris Paul, gave Basley minutes and opportunities, and for a time, he looked like he might grow into the role the Lakers and maybe others dream of. In 2020-21, he posted 14 points per game, respectable stats by any measure. But the cruel truth of modern NBA basketball is that scoring averages don't tell the full story. Efficiency, defense, fit those are critical chess pieces. Basley was stellar defensively, a unique talent with versatility that many don't possess. But he never quite locked down a niche to make coaches swear by him, to cement a role that was more than just opportunity. That hesitance led OKC to trade him away, launching a frustrating carousel through Phoenix. Then Philadelphia, followed by a wave and a re-wave in Utah. Eventually, he took the path many do when the NBA turns away a stint overseas. Now back in the States, donning Lakers purple in Summer League, Basley is different, sharper, hungrier, but still flawed. His offense is creative. He's a crafty finisher who can attack the rim and serve as a lob threat. But there's that glaring flaw hanging over him like a cloud. His three-point shooting is inconsistent at best. A shaky 31% career clip that modern NBA teams struggle to accommodate in a forward who isn't a traditional big man. You know the NBA landscape, the game demands spacing, shooting, reliable perimeter threats. If you can't stretch the floor, you risk being a liability, no matter how many blocks you swat away or how versatile you are on defense. His defensive versatility is undeniable. He's shown the ability to switch onto any position on the floor, rim protect with abandon, and hold his own as a small ball five when needed. His Summer League numbers back it up. Over 2 blocks per game in limited action, confirming something he's flashed throughout his NBA tenure, where he averaged nearly 1 block per game in 23 minutes, a rate that, scaled to starter minutes, looks even more promising. But here's the rub. The Lakers already have one player who fits that mold, perhaps too closely for comfort: Jared Vanderbilt. A defensive marvel, switchable, a relentless energy guy who can guard 1 through 4, even dabbling at small ball 5, but who struggles with the three-point shot, making him a sometimes offensive liability on a team starved for reliable shooters. On the perimeter, when you compare Basley and Vanderbilt, Basley edges out offensively better ball handling, more creativity, more scoring chops. But the problems overlap because neither has established themselves as a dependable shooter yet. And that's the modern BA's non-negotiable currency. This creates an almost impossible puzzle for the Lakers, front office and coaching staff. Do they buy into Basley's promise and risk redundancy? Or do they stick with Vanderbilt's proven energy in defense and keep hunting for shooters elsewhere? How do you even build a rotation where both can coexist without exposing your offense in critical moments? That question lingers like a shadow over Basley's Summer League showcase. And let's be clear, no one is urging the Lakers to cut ties with Shake Milton or Jordan Goodwin lightly. Those non-guaranteed contracts offer roster flexibility, but also have their value. It's a delicate balance where signing Basley isn't just about raw talent. It's a complex chess match involving cap space, lineup construction, and the relentless urgency to improve a team that's being judged by the monuments of LeBron's twilight years and Anthony Davis's health battles. Yet, despite all these strategic hurdles, the hope for Basley is palpable. Watching him play, hungry to prove himself, not just to the Lakers or to any team willing to listen, but to himself resonates deeply with those of us who have watched. This franchise endured decades of highs and bone-crushing lows. That hunger, that raw determination, pulls at the heartstrings of every fan who knows what it means to fight for a second chance. But as a lifelong Lakers fan, I can't help but feel a knot of apprehension twisting in my gut. The road back to the NBA is steep and unforgiving. Can Basley find the consistency to shoot over the doubts in defense, to turn that 31% three-point average into something closer to dependable? Can he carve out a niche that convinces the Lakers or any team that he deserves more than a fleeting Summer League cameo? Or is this just another Summer League highlight reel destined to fade into the vast ocean of players who almost made it, but never quite got their shot? Is this the start of a new empire seated in the gritty summer grind? Or the beginning of our unraveling as we cling to hope for the next purple and gold hero? Drop your take in the comments. I'll be reading every one. Wake up, Lakers Nation! This isn't the usual all-season fluff or some scripted highlight reel you half-watch while scrolling Instagram. This is the pulse of the franchise, beating raw, exposed, and messy, begging us to feel every inch of the fight, to grasp the stakes that ripple through every conversation in purple and gold. This isn't just about one player jumping through hoops in Summer League. This is about the very essence of what this team is becoming as the sun starts to set on. LeBron's reign and the heavy crown settles on young shoulders still learning to carry it. Now, let's stare down that uncomfortable truth. Basley's battle for a roster spot is more than personal redemption or a footnote in some capologist spreadsheet. It's a symbol of the urgency crushing down on Frank Vogel's successors, on Rob Pelinka's front office chess match against time, money, and expectations. Because LeBron James isn't just a basketball god. He's the sun around which this franchise's universe revolves. Every roster choice echoes into his twilight years. Every gamble made today will either prolong his era of greatness or hasten the fall into an off-season of painful reckoning. How much longer can the Lakers lean on LeBron's Herculean willpower? Anthony Davis carries the dual burden of being the franchise's defensive anchor and its most fragile star, each injury a dagger to the heart of Lakers fans who lived through the soul-crushing disappointments of 2019 to 2021. And what about Bronny? The whispers grow louder every day, the spotlight thickening as the next generation tries to emerge from LeBron's colossal shadow. Does Basley's story, his gritty, overlooked fight, reflect what the Lakers need in their locker room culture? As they rebuild, can his scrappy, relentless style set a tone that inspires not just a roster spot, but the whole trajectory of this team's identity going forward? The Lakers have always been more than the names stamped on jerseys. They're a legacy built on moments of transcendent Showtime basketball in the 80s that danced past every defensive scheme. The early 2000s three-peat era, where Kobe and Shaq ruled with an iron fist and artistry. The 2010 revenge tour that made us bleed purple in gold tears. And the miraculous 2020 bubble, championship that felt less like a title and more like spiritual salvation during a dark global time. But post-bubble, the story has been heartbreak, the shadow of injuries and front office miscues stretching long across seasons where calls were questioned, moves dissected, and fan patience tested beyond limits. This Summer League fight, Basley's fight, it's a microcosm of the entire franchise's crossroads. The Lakers are in a purgatory of sorts, clinging to yesterday's glories while scrambling to remain relevant in a Western Conference that has mutated into a brutal battlefield. The Warriors are not the almighty monoliths they once were, but Golden State's legacy wounds the league's psyche too deeply to ignore. Steph Curry is still a god on his court, while Draymond and Klay threaten as lethal a defensive and shooting combo as history has seen. Denver looms Jokic's genius, making them a chess master's nightmare. And the Phoenix Suns look hungry with a blend of youth and fire that's already given the Lakers fits. And the Clippers? In the thick of transition, but still a poison dagger in any championship conversation with their bones stacked full of talent. Every roster tweak, every slot claimed or surrendered, Every chance given to a guy like Basley can ripple into this ferocious ecosystem. What if Basley's energy could unlock a secret weapon the Lakers desperately need a spark to ignite their defense and give a D more legs, to add layers of unpredictability alongside Vanderbilt's bruising style? What if Basley can improve his perimeter game just enough to soften his weaknesses and turn into a Swiss Army knife capable of flexing into multiple roles? Picture this, a Lakers rotation where LeBron's court vision meets Basley's length, where hustle meets potential, and the team's defense doesn't just survive but punishes every opponent inching into their paint. But now imagine the alternative Basleys. Flame sputters, the Lakers double down on veterans whose primes are behind unopened doors, and the roster tips ever closer to stagnation. A faded glory act trying to outrun the relentless tick of rebuilding forces around them. What about the front office drama underneath the glam? Genie Bus holds the keys to the kingdom, but the swirling rumors around potential billionaire bids to take control of the franchise could reshape everything. Imagine a world where deep-pocketed ownership crashes this Lakers party and appends everything Genie and Rob Lear have built. Would that mean renewed glory or a chaotic purge that shreds years of trust and continuity? The basketball landscape is shifting, and Lakers fans should feel the tremors beneath the studio lights and sold-out crypto arenas. This is an era where legacy, loyalty, and raw talent collide with the cold calculus of modern sports business. Basley, for all his warts and unproven nature, represents a wild card in this high-stakes game. And think about what that means for locker room dynamics. Would Basley's hunger jolt teammates like Austin Reeves, stirring fresh intensity, blocking stagnation? Could his gritty stories of overseas struggle and unfinished business resonate deeply with veterans craving a new spark, a new edge to tear through the Western gauntlet? The Lakers aren't just rebuilding players. They're sculpting an ethos, an unbreakable will to fight on against all odds, something forged in the blood and sweat of legends past. And yet, as every Laker fan knows, hope is a double-edged sword. Each summer league explosion also whispers a haunting question. Is this brilliance fleeting? A mirage that dazzles briefly before fading into the harsh reality of regular season pace, NNB, tactical complexity? When the cameras fade and coaches choose their lineups in quiet war rooms, does Basley have that secret sauce consistency, adaptability, maturity to survive the brutal cuts and make meaningful minutes? Or will he become another phantom in Lakers lore, a tantalizing glimpse of potential that never materialized into permanence? As painful as past disappointments have been, remember the Ron Artest shakeups, the Nick Young heartbreak, the ghost of D'Angelo Russell slipping through our fingers. There's a kernel of truth that Lakers fans never forget. Greatness often demands suffering, often emerges from the ashes of what looks like failure. This is more than roster management. It's a test of the franchise's soul, a trial to see if Lakers purple runs through the blood of new unexpected heroes, or if we're doomed to watch the dynasties of yore dim to memories. So here we are, standing on the edge of the unknown, watching Basley fight like a man possessed, seeing flashes of greatness that could lead to glory or just another heartbreak in a long line of almost. What if this new Lakers chapter is less about marquee signings and more about guys like Darius Basley embodying the gritty pulse and survival instinct of a franchise battered but unbowed? Now imagine the whirlwind's eye, the crux of a Lakers future built not on superstar names etched on banners, but on the raw, chaotic fight of players who refuse to let their story end in the shadows. As a Laker till the day I die, here's what I see coming. The front office will face monstrous decisions. LeBron's legacy will be measured not just by trophies, but by who he lifts up around him in these final acts. And Basley, whether he makes the roster or not, has already etched his will on this summer stage. The question isn't just can he make the team, but will the Lakers have the courage to bet on the raw, uncut diamond rather than chase the polished but hollow promise of name recognition? Now I want to hear from you. Drop your rawest take below. Every true believer in purple and gold, Who do you trust to carry our legacy forward stars? Grit? Gamble? Or is it all slipping through our fingers in one last desperate summer of chasing what could have been?